Hey everybody, Invisiblekatana here. I am with Nate, aka Mr. Famtastic. We're doing 2 episodes in a night, so unfortunately the anarchist is once again not with us.
Let's. You know who it is. It's your boy, the anarchist, aka Demetrius. There we go.
Yeah.
All right, he's with us, right?
There, yes. So the way I'll do it, this will be like our special upload since we did 2 in the night and it's just
we'll
us.
just do
I'll
2.
do the Tuesday thing again. So, that way it won't be too long before he's back on an episode. And he'll be,
that's cool.
hopefully,
Man.
if he is joining us next week, then he'll just be right back on, the Tuesday after next, and it'll be normal. But we're gonna kick things off with a special topic that Nate had. So I'll let you kind of get things going.
Yeah. So we were talking about it, and like, for people who don't know, I probably leave once to 3 times an episode.
Mm-hmm.
I check my phone 50 times.
Yeah.
So I'm for my job I'm a boss. I'm a big boss, and for my family I have 4 little girls and a wife. And for me, man, it's hard because you have to decipher between work and family and work, and you always come to this head sometimes of, okay, do I want to spend more time with my family and not be able to get them what I want, or do I want to be able to get them what they want and not as much time? Because that's what it is. I mean,
push and pull,
yeah. And for me, my personality is I dive into everything I do, from my family to this podcast to work, whatever. Like, I'm in feet first. I'm passionate about it. You've had to hear me go on rants about my job and about my family off the air, but for me, like, it's really hard. Like, because not only to be a good parent do you have to be there, but you also have to take care of yourself and allow yourself to be independent and be able to do things outside of your kids or your wife, because it's kind of twofold. Like, you want to be there for your kids and teach them things, but by not being there, you're also teaching them things, and not only independence and dealing with when people you love aren't around and stuff like that, but from an aspect of, hey, you've got to take care of yourself as well, because if you're not taking care of yourself, you're not going to be any good to anybody. And it's 11:30 midnight, and I had a full day with the kids, and at dinner I got calls from work, and it's hard to decipher that. But the way that I look at it is I take calls from home at work and stuff like that, so I try to balance it. But for me, the hardest thing is deciphering quality and quantity. So, like, today was an awesome day. I mean, we went to Polar Express, we went to the mall, we went to Olive Garden and had a great dinner, and we went to Heinz Drive, which, for people who aren't here, it's a drive-through light park, Christmas lights, and it's really magic for the kids and stuff like that. But something that I've realized is that as humans, no matter what you do, it's never enough. I could spend the whole day with my kids, and the first thing they ask me before they go to bed: do you have to go to work tomorrow? Are you going to be on your phone all day?
Yeah.
Or, do you have your podcast? Are you doing this? Well, no. Okay, great. So the day's just dedicated to me. Well, I don't know that, but, and it's hard because it's not only as a group, we get lost in, I'm spending time with the family and the wife. Well, no, my wife and I need alone time too. Yeah. My kids and I need alone time. Each individual special moments. And right now, with my transition of my promotion and stuff, it's re-gearing that, because before I kind of had it figured out, I was working a lot of nights and stuff like that, and Lulu, my second oldest, she is a night owl, so that's the time I use for her. Zizi, my oldest, she likes to get up early in the morning, so I get up with her, we made breakfast, so we had our special moments, and now it's me trying to figure this all out again. And if you're young and dumb and don't have a family yet, or just starting a family, know that as you get older and as you go through life, like you are going to have to keep redoing and retooling the same things over and over again because life changes. Things change. And so like for me, it's just, I just, some days I just don't know what to do. Like this moment, you know, we're having a good time and we're doing a podcast that we enjoy. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, man, it's taken away from me and my wife's what we call pillow talk. You know what I mean? Where we lay in bed and we watch an episode of Friends or a movie we've been wanting to see, and we talk about the day and we talk about our feelings and we talk about life and what we're trying to accomplish over the next week, year, 6 years, 20 years, 2 weeks, whatever. You know, but how do I prioritize that? And I don't think people talk about that enough. You know, because it's this Facebook perfect, everything's perfect, everything's great.
Everything's in order.
And it's not, man. Yeah. Like, life is messy and and life is hard. Yeah. But at the end of the day, it's beautiful, right?
So it's the parts behind what you see online. Because people don't talk about the crappy stuff, most of the time at least.
Yeah.
Because like you mentioned, as far as you working versus family and stuff like that, like I had that. As one of the issues, like, you know, me and my girlfriend, we broke up recently. That was a part of it, was like where I am versus where she was, because she was 5 years older. She was kind of where I wanted to be, because for me it was like I was in my last 2 years when we first got together of college,
right?
And I despised college so much. I only went because of my parents. And so it was like, for me in my head, it was the thing, which we've talked about this before.
Yeah.
Get out of college, that
get your perfect
moment
job.
is going to happen.
Yeah.
And that was like a big part of what I kept focusing on instead of what we were doing in the moment. I kept thinking it'll be better because I'm gonna get this thing later, and that was a part of what kind of messed up our relationship ultimately. So it was like this weird thing where it was like constantly like having this tunnel vision, because I mean honestly you need to have
right. I mean, and that's the thing, like when you think about people who that's my biggest fear. So when you think about people who are successful career-wise, a lot of them are divorced. You know, don't talk to the kids a lot. Like, you know, like a lot of the people that are higher up than me or people that are at the same level as me, we all have the same issues. You know, not home a lot, like dealing with work all the time, whatever. And like for me, like I hate this phrase, but to have your cake and eat it too. Like I want to be able to be successful in my career and do things that I enjoy on a creative aspect.
Yeah.
But also have time for my family, like, but no, I've come to realize, and maybe I'm wrong, but I've come to realize that no matter where you put your effort at, there's always going to be that one thing more. There's always going to be that thing you missed or you fucked up on. Or something, you know, like, I know I had issues with my parents, and I had a great childhood. I'm sure you had issues with your parents growing up, things, you know, so like, it's hard to wrap yourself around, like, I'm doing the best I can, and no matter what happens, I love them, and I want to be with them, but at the same time, I know that no matter what I do, issues are going to rise. I mean, you could have the perfect life, and you're bitching about a fucking broken nail. You know, like, that's just the way it is. And so, you know, for me, like what you were saying, like, it either gets to the point where you find the person, like, my fucking wife, dude, like, I love the shit out of her. Like, she, you know, she lets me do this shit and allows me to be myself and all this stuff. And like before that, you know, it was always one thing, like work or whatever, that ended a relationship. And so for me, when it gets to that point, and work was always a big reason, and you know, when we get to that point where it's like you need to spend more time, like why, you know, this, my instinct is like, oh my god, this is what's going to kill it, you know? But if you work through it and find the person you want to be with and the people you want to be around with, talking about it and being aware makes a big difference too, you know? The fact that you can be aware of it and know, like, if that person you're with or family that you're with is like really quiet around a certain time or whatever, you know why, and you can adhere to that. I don't know. I mean, it's crazy. So
yeah, it's an odd balance going through. It's in a weird way, it's almost like success versus happiness a little bit, and it's in a perfect world, it's both. Success leads to happiness, but that's not, you know, that.
But how happy are you? You know, like what's more important, a successful image of yourself. Because let's be honest, with a career and stuff, I mean, that's what it is. Like, oh, this person's so successful, or oh, this person is so good, when you're only seeing one aspect of them. But why can't you strive to have both? Like, I probably sleep 4 hours a day, maybe 6, full hours. And I'm okay with that because I know that for me to be successful in what I do and who I am, I have to do that. I mean, I have to, because I've got to try to make as much time as I can for my kids to feel special and feel loved, and my wife to feel special and feel loved, and then my career to be able to take off so I can take care of those people that I care and love about. And I'm a big material guy. Like, I make a mistake, my instinct is to buy something for that person, right? That's the way I say sorry, or I love you, or whatever. My wife is the complete opposite. I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on jewelry and stuff like that. And one of her favorite things that I ever did for her was our anniversary was a couple weeks ago. And the kids got up in their dress-up clothes. And she was out, and they got up in their dress-up clothes. I downloaded a playlist of all our wedding songs. And then ZZ met her out of the car and said, come in, we got something special. And so Lulu and Piccadilly walked her down the aisle. Okay. And Bora was, our infant was sitting with all their stuffed animals laid out like a wedding party. And then ZZ did the announcement of our love for each other and was the minister and all that stuff. And we had a reenactment of her wedding through our kids' eyes, right? And she cried, I cried. It was amazing. But for me, like, I did that because over these past years, I know what my wife wants and loves to see and all that stuff. But at the same time, it took almost 6 hours. You know what I mean? Like, to set that all up and teach ZZ what to say and build her confidence and all that. And, like, I don't know, man. It's tough. It's tough to figure out what people want and need, and it's tough to balance all of that.
Yeah, because everyone's different, so you have those different needs, or even below needs, it's just desires, like just different ideas of what you like and don't like. So it is always really complex to kind of go through that process, and then that's just figuring out versus the actual time element of it all. So it's so many different layers to, everyone with you versus you by yourself versus work, and just all the different facets coming together, and how all those different elements play out, and that changes as you grow older or as your family grows as well too.
I always thought it was funny with my dad. He had things he loved, but like he wouldn't take the time to do it. Like Batman and all that stuff, and Lord of the Rings and stuff like that. And he would include me in a lot of it and all that. But he had his office computer that had all his knickknacks and stuff that he loved, and he would be up till like 2 or 3 in the morning and then get up for work at like 6 or 7, to go to school and teach. And then he would do photography or coaching afterwards, and then still have time for me. Never missed a game. There was one game he was an hour late. It was when he was working one of his summer gigs at Terminex, and he was like an hour late. And then one weekend they had to go to Wichita for something, and I had a baseball tournament, and I missed that. But that was it. I mean, for the 18 years that I was their legal child, that was it. And for that, I'm really blessed. And so, looking back on it as an adult, my dad was up so late because that's the only way he knew how to give time for us, give time for the wife, give time for himself. And sometimes that's what you have to do, is you just have to say, okay, is X more important than Y? Then I'm going to do X, and Y will have to go to the side. And like is, okay, but this time Y is more important than X, so I got to take care of that and then get back to X. Like, it's just, I mean,
it's just a rotating cycle.
It's funny, when you were a kid, you couldn't wait to be an adult because you thought you would know everything, and you would do, right? I mean, you get this perception of being an adult as knowing stuff and being smart and
being able to do what you can.
And it's not that at all, man. Like,
still,
how much more do I know now than I did? You know what I mean? Like,
and it goes along with school, where it's like you learn this, and this, and then it's always like, I don't know how to do taxes.
yeah.
Stuff like that.
You know, well, this guy who's charging me $200 knows how to do taxes. I guess I'll just you know what I mean, do that. So like, I don't know, man, like it's just it's tough, and I ask the listeners to like really search in themselves and see like what, you know, their toughest things are to do, because we love to talk about that kind of stuff. And you know, but like for me, I just kind of had to get that off my chest, man, because it's something that is not a daily struggle for me. It is right now because of my job change and everything like that, and it's new. But it's definitely a thing you have to deal with a lot.
Yeah.
Because things do change. Your kids get old. Man, we bought ZZ. She's built just like me. So long legs. I have no torso, no butt, and then long arms. So we bought her a whole new wardrobe yesterday. Sweaters, stuff like that for the winter. This morning she gets up, puts it on, goes to lift something, and it goes up to her nipple. You know, because she's built like me. So like, but I tell that story because that's how fast things go. Like that's how fast things change, and you really have got to be able to find that balance. You know, like in that situation, it's return the clothes, get a size bigger. You know what I mean? Like, on a small scale, you know, you have to make decisions like that all day long.
Yeah.
As an adult, as a provider for a family, what have you. And it's crazy, man.
Yeah,
it's crazy because the world doesn't, in my opinion, the world doesn't teach you for the world.
No, it doesn't.
You know, and that's what I try to teach my kids all the time, but it's tough, man, because the way the education system's set up and the way people are raised, like, it doesn't teach you for situations like this. You know what I mean?
Like, you learn the basic stuff, the things where it's like you're supposed to know math, you need to know history and science and stuff like that, and then you don't learn
social stuff.
Yeah, social stuff, and like street smarts, that sort of thing, where it's just like, this is what you need to do once you get to this point in your life, or if you get to the point where you are no longer on your parents' insurance, what does that mean for you? That sort of thing. You learn kind of last minute almost.
Yeah.
Like that.
You're like, what do you mean I have to pay insurance?
Yeah.
Holy crap! Don't even get me
on
a rant about that, dude. Don't even get me on a rant about that. The fact that companies don't provide it is ridiculous. But anyway.
Yeah, it's like that constant struggle. Like, we're at totally different points in our lives. Like me breaking up with my girlfriend recently, that was a huge deal because we were together for,
as it should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Because you were with her for...
It would have been 5 years in February. Yeah, and that was like a huge deal. So I'm like dealing with that mentally. Like, I wish that it didn't happen, but with ultimately the way everything happened in the end, I can't go back to it. Like, I know that it just...
But it's the familiarity. It's the, you know, like...
It's the good stuff that was there, and thinking about like how well we did work together. Because she was like the first person where I was legitimately like, I want to marry her. And if it weren't for the fact that I was like constantly focused on like, man, this job thing will happen, it probably would have worked.
But it set you up for the next time you feel that way. You know how to react to that. Yeah, you know how to deal with that. You know what I mean? And I'm a big believer in fighting the one. Like my best friend went to my family's Thanksgiving in Kansas City, and the topic of the day was how some dumb fuck like me met my wife. You know, he was telling people like, I thought I had high standards, and then, you know, because he came out for my surprise birthday party that my wife set up for me, my 30th, and he's like, I don't think I'm ever gonna find someone like that. But my thing is he saw a speck of it.
Yeah.
So like that part of it might have made him think of what he needs, but a big mantra in my family that we say all the time is perfectly imperfect. I'm imperfect, my wife's imperfect, but together we're perfect for each other, right?
And I think
so it sucks what you're going through.
Yeah, but
it is what it is, and you learned from it, right?
Yeah,
so,
and it's one of those weird things because you know, like it did work for so long, but there are definitely issues there that with me being like, we talked about this before we did the episode like last week and stuff, where you're talking about like you couldn't handle some of the stuff I did because I'm like I'm like oddly calm, like I'm like insanely calm, so I can get through like some of the crazy situations and it'll be like I still can't believe you did that. I can make it work. And I guess for people,
was it 3 days, 4 days?
It was 5. About 5.
Oh,
Okay.
no
so
way. No way in
quick,
hell.
Okay, so quickly, because I'm sure people are curious. So my girlfriend and I, we went to Cancun when we were talking about vacation and stuff. We went to Cancun, and it was for my aunt's wedding. But the weekend before that, we decided to officially break up because it was just like everything that happened. I won't get into all those details.
Yeah.
It was just like, it got to a point where I was like, as much as I want to be with this person, I can't be happy.
Right.
Like I officially realized that, and it was just like, all right, I'm like super, super nice. Because I could have done it without us going, and like without her being there. I didn't care, but I was like, I know she wants that, so I was like, I'll deal with it.
5 days,
5
man.
days, yes. So, and this, especially with it being a wedding, you know, everything is
Love
how long have you guys been
it.
together,
Yeah.
and your kids will be so cute and this and that, and so that of course,
man.
like that's like 5 days of that, and it's just like. Yeah,
Like if someone came up to me and was like, "Oh, your kids are gonna be so cute," I'm like, if she gets lucky at the sperm bank, like I don't know what you're talking about, man. Like I don't know how you did. I mean, kudos to you, man, because
yeah,
no
and
way.
it's like I said, it's just that's one of the weird things about me. Like I can find a way, and it wasn't the easiest thing in the universe, but I knew I was like, basically the way I had to do it was knowing that it wasn't working. It was like, if we talk about why it's not working, we will not go on this trip. I knew that would lead to like the worst stuff. So I was like, we need to just not talk about it. I was trying to avoid talking about it as much as possible.
Okay.
And then,
and if you don't have to answer this,
yeah.
but did you guys have to share a room too?
Yeah, we.
Holy shit! Fuck that, man. No, okay.
It wasn't bad like that. It wasn't. It's so weird because it wasn't horrible or anything. It got bad because eventually.
Like you literally lived a real life breakup.
Yeah.
The movie, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, shit.
So it was me trying to kind of keep it normal throughout the trip, and then eventually it got to all the stuff that I was trying, all the arguments where I'm like, I know this is what's gonna happen if we talk before this trip. Eventually, those arguments happened during the trip of those conversations, and it was just like, I mean, I kind of skated through because I was like, look, in the end, I didn't really like the trip was for her anyway because I didn't need her there. And like, I don't know, maybe I should have talked to her about that because I was like, for me, it wasn't about me. It was legitimately
right. Like you were trying, like you guys have been talking about it a long time. You guys have planned about it, and you know, it wasn't like you broke up 2 months before that. You literally broke up like within a week of when you were supposed to go, and in your mind, you're like,
we're gonna go. Yeah, and it was like even before that, it was like things were just so crazy, and me trying to, you kind of try to fight against like, I feel this way, but I think I can get through this or this. So it was kind of like that where, you're kind of fighting against kind of your gut, I guess.
Yeah.
So I was kind of fighting against that idea and trying to make it work, and then it's just like, because she would constantly ask me, think about this, like, this, and this. And the main reason she was doing that, like, one of the things is she was always trying to get me to like change my mind. It was like, that was a huge thing in the end. So it was like, she would just keep asking me because the questioning was always kind of getting to her. Like, she didn't really know. So she just asked me to think about it, and I was like, okay. And I just had like the one weekend when I was at like my anime convention, it was just me. And it was just like, like I know where it's at. And so I just told her, the week before. And that's just how it was. And, we went on the trip and everything, and, had the arguments and all that stuff and the conversations that I knew were going to be there regardless.
Yeah, they were gonna come out.
And it was just like, everything we did was like, I even bought her something like when we were on the trip, and it was like, I don't know, like that's how I feel,
You bought her something on the trip?
It was like $15. It was like it was like a bracelet thing, but it was still just like, I still felt that for her.
Well, right. I mean,
just like
that's the other thing that like people that I just don't understand about people, how the love that you shared with someone or the memories, like no matter what happens between you and me, I'll always remember you. And I always have a thought about you or something will remind me of you.
Yeah.
Like, that happens throughout your life. Like, why can't people just accept that? You know what I mean? Like, now that since I've been with my wife for 6 years and I have kids and stuff like that, like, a lot of things have fallen off or whatever. But, like, there's things that I hear that I still think of my best friend from high school or, that guy I met at the gas station or whatever. Like, I don't know. I mean, I don't think everybody's brain works that way, but like, for me, I I don't understand why people try to ignore that instead of just accepting it and moving on and trying to deal with what that is.
Yeah, and yeah, it's one of those crazy, weird things. But yeah, we went through it in
5 fucking days, man. No way.
Yeah.
In a romantic place.
Yep, romantic.
During
wedding,
a romantic. Oh my gosh.
Vacation.
How long had the aunt and husband been together?
They've gone on years.
Wow.
Years.
So I bet it was very exciting and very like.
Yeah, and everything was my aunt getting married and my uncle, her actual brother, he was married years ago. And so, that's all it was. It was talk about this and that. And he was talking to me about whether or not we were going to get married, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just me and him talking in conversations. And he was just saying, like, this, and this. If you really think that, then you should. Or if not, if you have these questions, then come to me. Because he actually does, like, couples therapy and stuff. So he was just saying, like, you're thinking this way or this way. But it was just interesting going through that whole thing. And for me, it was cool. Like, I was just kind of, like I said, for me, it was just trying to do my part to end it well, I guess, in the best way that I could think of, because I knew
that's all you can do.
Yeah.
I mean, and people gotta realize that, man. Like, we're just trying to figure shit out the best way we know how. And my best way is way different than your best way.
Yeah.
Because I would have never fucking done that. Not in a million years, but that doesn't mean your way's wrong.
It's just what you can handle,
wrong or right. You know what I mean? So
it's just how you can handle it, and just how things, I guess, just play out, just how you are. Like, for me, I'm so able to mentally handle, like, tough stuff. I was just able to do that. There's certain things that I found out where, honestly, if I knew, she would not have been on that trip. There's some stuff I found out legitimately. So it was stuff where I was, like, thinking about that. I was like, all I was trying to do is keep it together, and just some crappy stuff. And I was just like, man, that really blows. But it is what it is at this point. It was just like,
Well, I'm sorry you're going through that, man. It sucks.
Yeah, it sucks. It's because it's weird, because it's like my second serious relationship. So the first one was.
Are you what they call a serial relationship person, where, like?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
I'm a relationship type of guy. And it just happens to be that way. That's just how I've always been. Was like, I'm not looking for the fling sort of deal. Like, that's just not me. And I'm never really necessarily looking for a relationship. It just, like, if I happen to meet anyone or anything like that, that's just how it is. So first serious relationship, we met at, like, a stupid summer camp thing, and she ended up calling me, like, months later, because I'm just me, like, we talked during the thing, and I just don't really talk to people after that. That's just how I'm, like, antisocial. But she called me, and then eventually we started dating, and that was, I want to say, almost 3 years. And then that was, like, going into college, and then, eventually, so we ended up breaking up. And then this was, like, we met at work. This is what someone who was my boss.
Yeah.
And that's just how that played out. Like, I really liked her, and I asked her a couple of times, and then eventually we got together, and that's just how it was for a long time. So it was just really different. Yeah. And it was weird, because she was, like, that first person where I was, like, at the age of being, like, I could marry this person once I get to this certain point in life. So that's definitely a weird spot to be after such a long time.
It's got to be, because I remember that. I mean, but what's crazy is, like, after that, like, only a few months after I met the girl of my dreams, and, like, that doesn't happen for everybody or whatever, but, like, for me, I feel for you, man, because it fucking sucks. It sucks. Because you went from 5 years of having someone by you all the time to nothing, And, like, when you're by yourself more, you really have to work on yourself and realize who you are, what you are, like,
and that was, one of the things we talked about a lot was just, like, shortcomings, both sides of the relationship. Obviously, it's not just gonna be, I mean, unless you're that bad, it's not gonna be, unless you're that horrible, it's not just on one person, typically.
Right.
So, we definitely both have to look at that. Like, for me, I knew it was just, like, all I've been, like, tunnel focused, trying to get whatever career job. Like, that was such a huge part of where it was constantly, what I was constantly working for. I was always, like, focused on the future rather than, like,
right, you're so focused on 2 years, 10 years down the road that you're not enjoying what, and that's something I struggle with, and my wife has really put it in perspective, like, you know, and I kind of had to learn it in my own way too, but with her right by my side is like, you know, yes, we want to work towards the future. Yes, we want to think about it, but at the same time, like, you got to enjoy these because they're gone, man. I mean, that's why I told the story about ZZ. You know, like 1 second it's fitting, it's fine, and then the next second it doesn't. Mm-hmm. You know, and you've got to readjust to that, find a solution for that. And, you know, man, I feel for you, brother.
Yeah, well, it is how it is, you know, and at this point it's definitely focusing on, you know, I mean, I was doing it anyway, but now it's like focus on that career thing and get back to some of this stuff, because, you know, you realize how much time, like, you don't even think about it, but there is a lot of actual time that you lose when you know, with someone, of course.
Yeah.
And I guess I definitely did always notice that, because I'm always trying to do my YouTube stuff, so I'd always, like, all the time I'm noticing, like, this hour I spent doing this or this, like, it's always on my mind, because I'm always trying to figure out what is that next thing I can do that'll work finally.
Yeah, right.
So that's always in my head. So, you know, now it's just like, all right, well, figure out the best way to do that and switch things up and kind of have more freedom, because I think a part of that was also when you're in a relationship so long, even when you're trying to change stuff, you don't change it as much as you think you are. Like, even if it's just for yourself doing whatever, it's not as much of a change as you think, because there's so many other factors that are kind of around it, so that sort of thing. But, you know, just focusing.
Did have the 5 days and stuff, did that allow you to have a little bit more closure and, like, allow yourself to be like, I'm making the right decision, or no?
Yes, it definitely did, because the arguments and stuff, it was just pretty much everything that happened
solidified. This is, no matter how hard a choice it is, it's the right choice.
Yeah, definitely. Like, that's pretty much the last month.
Right.
You know, like, these were things that were issues, you know, like, there's always issues where you, like, push that to the side or whatever. That's kind of how it was. And then you would have, like, that just all the time, or, you know, more consistently, I guess, or on a harsher scale or whatever.
Well, that's the beauty of finding someone that you feel like you can live life with, is, like, we don't push stuff off. Like, we may push it off to, like, not in front of the kids or whatever, but when there's an issue, we attack it, you know, in our own way.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I hope you find happiness. You will, but, you know, like, oh, man.
Yeah, it's a weird feeling for sure.
Okay, so since we're talking about, you know, so what are you looking forward to? Like, movie, like, what are you like, man, I gotta be there for that. I gotta do this.
I think at this point, a lot of stuff that's been coming to mind is just stuff that, you know, because a big part of it was, because we were, you know, one of the things is, like, when you're kind of living with someone, because she had a place, so I was pretty much with her all the time. So it's that thing where it's like, you know, people say, you're basically married, that sort of deal.
Yeah.
So a big part of that was, you know, not just me, like, looking for another job, but a part of that was obviously the money, because it would be like, all right, I can help a little bit, but I wasn't helping. That was always the thing in my head, like, I want to be helping more than I am, because I know that I'm here.
Yeah.
So, what were you gonna say?
No, I was just gonna ask, was that, like, an issue for her or just you? Like, because some of the issues you create in your own, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I definitely did, because she would say that, and it would be like, because that's how it always was, you know, just growing up is get this job, and that's how you're this better person or whatever. So it was definitely like that. Part of it was certainly that way for me to focus so much on the money aspect, for sure. That was, like, a big part of, you know, one of the issues that we had, for sure.
Yeah.
But, you know, it was always kind of like that, but that focus, like, not being there, and it just being me and having, like, a bit more money, because I'm only spending it on, like, maybe the 2 meals that I eat a day. That's how it was in general. Because me being back at my dad's, I don't really buy groceries. I rarely ever did. I just did because, you know, it was us at the house, so we would buy groceries for us. But me just being like, I got this room at my dad's, and I'm trying to just do whatever. I'll eat when I eat. That's pretty much how that's pretty much how it is. So it's like, buy something at lunch and buy something super late when I get off work, and that's pretty much how you, like, you know, twice a day unless there's food at the house, and that's pretty much it.
Or, like, get a pizza knowing that it'll last like 3 days. I remember those days, man.
So it's pretty much just like knowing that I'll have like at least a little bit more money, starting to like truly save up and figuring out how to kind of change things around a bit. Because like with my YouTube stuff, that was always a huge focus because I was always kind of hoping that would lead to more stuff. Yeah. So I really, and I didn't think about this recently anyway, but switching that up for sure and stuff, changing up the channel and getting officially more into photography and, that sort of thing. And, just looking, one of the big things that, people always like, I used to do this and I stopped. One of the huge things I did was write. I had like 2 stories that I was writing and I stopped writing them like years ago because I kind of transitioned to the YouTube stuff really. And that kicked up in college because I was so bored that first year. I legitimately just started to write in class, and I ended up doing like 2 separate stories because the first one was so long. It was like over 400 pages handwritten. So I was like, I'm gonna switch and do a different story and try to make it short, and that's like 120 something pages now. But that's almost done, so I'm like, I'll officially get back to those and just try to get that stuff out there, and if they're good enough, have them published, that whole sort of thing. But get back to those sort of little things where it's like, that's something I kind of stopped doing because I transitioned into something else that I thought would work faster. Right. And I would always think about that, like, would just doing the stories be faster or doing it's that immediacy versus
and like that's the thing is like every decision you make has a consequence, either be it good or bad, and like you have to deal with that and figure out like, okay, well, this didn't work, so I'm gonna do it this way or whatever.
But that's definitely looking forward to kind of just changing myself, I guess, a little bit and doing stuff that I just hadn't done before. Get definitely more into my photography because I don't know, I've been going through like the weirdest transitions where it was like went to school for game design, then was like I really like writing, and then I went into doing video stuff with YouTube.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, I don't understand why people get stuck on you have to do something for so long. Like, especially our parents and the parents before them. Like, they talk about, I was with this company for 30 years, or I did this for 30 years, but I really wanted to do this. Well, why didn't you try? Why didn't you try?
Like a part part of just that
this
time
is a perfect example. I'm steady in my career. I know what I'm gonna. I know what I want to do for my life and how I'm gonna be financially successful. But this is something that I've talked about doing for a long time, and something that allows me to do it. And I kept pushing it off for like, I'm not this person or whatever. And finally, I was just like, just do it. See what happens. What's the worst that's going to happen? 2 people are going to listen to it. Okay.
Yeah. Whatever. Because I wanted to do a podcast for a long time. Like, there's always stuff where I'm always trying to get other people. But not every, hardly anyone really is that interested in doing video stuff. Like, I'm really like the only person I really know that does like YouTube stuff. Like, Demetrius at this point. But like, as long as I've been doing it and being even in the area and stuff, you just don't tend to meet a lot of people that are like trying to really do it, or even if it's just a hobby, not to really do it to succeed or anything. Like, I always hoped that, but it was always like I just like doing that. Like, that's why I started. It was never to,
and that's
like,
that's how this. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's just to do something that is entertaining. That sort of thing. So that's pretty much where I'm at right now. Is just focusing on doing what I want to do, but I guess doing it better. doing it, finding the right way to do what I like to do, and trying to get that going, and either having somebody hire me or figuring out the whole self-business sort of deal. Hopefully one of those things kind of
that's a tough industry to get into too.
Yes, it definitely is. So that's kind of where it's at, and just being me. I don't know.
So switching gears a little bit, like, what are you looking forward to from an entertainment aspect? Like, what what are you looking forward to? Entertainment
wise, I'll just start off with Star Wars because it's coming out in like a few weeks. I cannot freaking wait.
Man, I'm pissed at Star Wars right now. So
why?
Okay, so we get to the IMAX right today, and dude, I'm so proud of us. We get there 20 minutes early, right? We're like, oh man, I'm like, oh my gosh, family of 6, like we're there, like we get the popcorn, we had the tickets pre-ordered, like we're all set. So I go to the thing, well, it's still showing the other stuff.
The last movie.
Okay. Yeah, and and like I'm like, well, what do we do? And the poor lady who was trying to help me, was like, well, I don't know, like, it's 10 minutes before.
Yeah, normally that stuff is
10
done,
minutes
like,
before
right.
1. Yeah. 10 minutes before, and then you can come in. I'm like, cool. So we wait outside, whatever. It's 10 till 1. And I go in. I'm like, I'm ready to sit my kids down and get them ready for the movie. And she's like, well, the movie's still gone. I'm like, you told me 10 minutes before. Like, what? Are you retarded? Like, do you know how to count time? And I'm telling this poor, like, probably 20-year-old girl this. You know, my wife's like, Nathan. You know, and she's like, the movie starts at 1. Like, I don't know what you want me to tell you. So, finally, like, they let it out. It's a big school. And, like, the school gets out of the theater and everything. And then, like, we go in. And the Star Wars preview's showing. And my kids are freaking out. They're like, oh, my God, it's scary. Like, what is going on? I'm trying to get their candy set up, their popcorn. And then instantly, right after the preview for that, the movie just starts. And we're trying to get set up. There's people in the theater ready to watch the movie. And my kids are like, Dad, that was the scariest shit I've ever seen. Like, what are you doing? And I'm trying to get their... And I'm like, oh, my God. So, like, I have a hatred for Star Wars right now because...
Freaked your kids out last minute.
Freaked my kids last minute. And I'm trying to calm them down for this special experience. I mean, it all worked out in the end. But, like, yeah. Like, my wife's excited about it. I could give.
Oh, man.
I bet... Are you so pumped?
Yes. Star Wars is, like for me, it's like Back to the Future is number 1, and then right under that is Star Wars for me. Yeah. So Star Wars I grew up on, and I can't wait for this. Like,
now, let me ask you this, because you're at that perfect age where, did you grow up on old Star Wars or the new?
I grew up on the technically the special editions of the original trilogy.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've got like the CG versions of those, but I grew up on those. That's like one of the few things, like my dad is not like super nerdy, but he's got like his couple of nerdy things.
Yeah.
And for him, it's like Star Wars. He's kind of into the Marvel stuff. Like we always go to see the movies. And then like Avatar: The Last Airbender is like that. So like I always get him like DVDs and stuff like that. And I swear it's like 2 times it's ever been useful. I like the first time I ever remember getting him something, it was a total waste of money because I got like the first Iron Man. I could go to the house in the basement and it's still in the plastic and like the little ottoman on DVD. So the 2 things I got him that I know he watched were the Star Wars Blu-ray collection, where it was like all the movies on Blu-ray, and then I bought him Avatar, the entire original series, The Last Airbender. So those are like his 2 things as far as like his really nerdy stuff. So I know he's excited for it. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to Star Wars because I love Star Wars so much and watched the old movies like a million times. You know, went to the movies to see the prequels, obviously, and stuff like that. But I always had a great time with them. Like, I always loved Star Wars. And, you know, it's in this...
It looks like it's gonna, like, be the pinnacle of what everybody... Like, because Katie's, like, super excited. She's like, it's gonna be dark and it's gonna... My wife is super excited because she's like, it's gonna be dark and, like, it's the epitome of what everybody was waiting for, right?
Yeah.
And so... but yeah, I mean, they've proven that they can put out good quality movies. Disney owning Star Wars now, so I don't know. I don't know. For me, I'm excited about Christmas Day, man.
Yeah.
Oh man, I can't wait. Like, Piccadilly, who's my second youngest, she is. I mean, man, the way we punish her right now is making her take off her play dresses because she's always in a play dress. So, you know, princess dress or whatever, and then like, you know, my oldest is into like Shopkins and stuff and like the magic of that. Like, I'm really looking forward to that, and it's gonna be me and the wife's first Christmas without any of the family. So we're super excited about that. It's something my wife really wants, and I'm really excited, and it's just gonna be us.
Just the house.
So yeah, just the house,
Okay.
just the house, and so we're looking forward to that. I'm really looking forward to taking the kids to see Coco.
I've heard that was really good.
So for me, that's the kind of animation I like. It's a little quirky, it's a little dark. Like, I'm a huge Tim Burton fan. He has nothing to do with this movie, but it's that kind of style, you know, dealing with death and things that are hard to talk about.
Heard it was really emotional. So
yeah,
be prepared to cry at the end.
Oh my gosh,
I've heard.
The Good Dinosaur, one of my favorites. I still cry at that movie every time I see it when he draws the circle and but you know, like, I'm really excited about that. I'm really excited about I said that we were going to be alone for Christmas, but my parents are coming like the day after, I think. So I'm really excited for my kids to experience multiple holidays for the same one. Like that's how I grew up. We'd have our Christmas and then my Nana's, and then we would, a few days after that, we'd go to Arkansas and visit my grandparents there, and then sometimes we'd have it in Colorado with my dad's parents. And so like I'm really excited for them to see that aspect of it.
Same holiday, sort of different.
Yeah, and like the holidays
doing
extended
it.
and stuff like that. Yeah. So I'm really excited about that. But that's about
the holidays.
That's
stuff.
about it.
The holidays,
Yeah, I mean, but like entertainment wise, like I'm super excited. It still doesn't come out till like May, but Grace and Frankie, me and my wife love that show. Have you seen it?
I haven't, but I know it. My mom likes that show.
Yeah, see, like that. Show. That's why I'm embarrassed to talk about what I'm excited about, because you're gonna keep saying like, oh well, my sister or my mom likes that. Like, I'm super excited about Pitch Perfect 3.
Well, I do like the first two Pitch Perfect movies.
Yeah, and so I'm super excited about that. Me and the wife are trying to go see Bad Moms Christmas, which I really want to see. But like, entertainment wise, like, I don't know, man. Like for me, like, I was just talking about this. Like, I'm a huge sports guy, so like the Super Bowl, and I get excited about that and the playoffs and stuff. But like, that stuff just keeps dropping down in my repertoire. Like, I just, like I'm like 2 episodes behind on Gotham. I'm behind. Like, I'm probably gonna give up. And I love the show because we talked about it. Lethal Weapon. Like, it's about my kids and my wife and my family right now. And I just, I'd rather be doing this kind of stuff and work and family than that. So like, that's kind of what I'm looking forward to, is just, the memories that I get to make with my kids. So.
Yeah, and I definitely get that. I'm definitely interested to see how this Christmas goes for me with the recent breakup. So I'm curious how that.
Well, you always have a seat at our table, man.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know.
Always.
Like for me, holidays were always like kind of other people's things.
Yeah.
Because it was just like, I've never really been big on, like, I don't even really celebrate my birthday like that. Like,
right.
Really,
you've talked about that.
Yeah, like I'm not really big on just celebrating a joy. I mean, obviously, I do it. I'm there. It's not like it's not like
well, like if you had a choice, like, hey, you want to do a marathon of Star Wars, or do you want to go celebrate Christmas?
Probably Star Wars.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably, yeah. But that's just because, like, for me, especially like with the age I'm at. A lot of my cousins that are my age, I don't really see them as often as I used to. It was like when we were younger, we hung out a lot more. Right. So now it's always like, if it's me, if it's like the family thing for holidays, it's just me. Like, it's almost like back when I was even younger, it was just like that, where it's like I'm the only person like this weird in-between age. Yeah. It's like my younger cousins who are, like 13 years younger than me is the oldest out of the three of them. And then my sister, who's a few years younger, we aren't really like that. She's my stepsister, so we've not really been like super close.
Right.
So it's always like this weird, like I'm just the one in this age, and it's like,
what's weirder than that is like now we're the hosts of stuff. Like we're transitioning from like the grandparent going to somewhere where it's us. You know what I mean? And part of that has to do with that we have so many kids and all that. But like the other thing is like, that generation is getting older, and you're, but that's weird too, man. Like when we were doing Thanksgiving, I'm like, oh my gosh, people are coming here. Like,
you're the one.
We're
and
usually
oddly
getting
enough,
ready.
I'm used to that because my mom is the one who does it. So I was the one I'm always like doing dishes, like Thanksgiving and stuff. Like this time it was just us. Like it was just me, her, and my nana. And we just hung out, and we're dog sitting because my aunt, who from Cancun,
right.
They're doing like a 3-week honeymoon. So they've been going, they got money like that. So like they're in Hong Kong, they're headed back soon. But it was just like the three of us, and us dog sitting the dogs, and that was it this year. But normally it's like my mom is always the one doing the setups, and I'm always there, either typically not helping cook because she's the great cook.
What's funny is
I'm
like
just
if
cleaning
you
up.
think about the moment as it's happening, it's so stressful and like you're trying to do stuff, but then when you look back at it, you're like, it was so great. Like it was amazing.
Yeah, it's definitely like
so
that. Especially if you happen to be the one cooking. Like for me, I was just clean up because my mom was the one who was like the chef in the family. Really,
it was awesome because this was the first Thanksgiving I had off in 5 years.
Oh.
So I helped with the cooking and stuff, but finally I petered out like 5 or 6. But like it was awesome to do that with my wife and the kids, and they helped like peel the potatoes and stuff like that. And you know, like it was cool to see that because I really haven't gotten to experience that before. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So that's definitely awesome because, like I said, for me, it's either, you know, like in my mom, where she's moved currently, like she's actually living with her sister with my aunt, so they aren't really doing the big party stuff too much anymore because it's them, and you know, it's kind of cramped now. So, you know, it's now back to, like I said, being in that weird position where I'm just like at whatever place, like at my dad's or whatever, and it's just like, all right, I'm just here, you know, playing some of the games with the card games or whatever, and then I was just like, all right, I'll be up in my room watching the show or trying to figure out where to put all my junk that I've taken from my girlfriend's house now because all I've got is the room and the basement, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I have so much stuff now.
Oh my gosh,
than I mean,
we're
realized.
in my garage right now, and there is a ton.
But see, like a lot of this, I feel like is, you know, you got like wood and stuff that has been deconstructed. I just got boxes of stuff. Like it's like my nerdy stuff, and then I didn't realize this until getting my stuff from Max's house.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Not even just the stuff I had. It was stuff that I had, cause oh man, I just thought of this. Last New Year's, I didn't get to spend with my girlfriend because my mom was moving all day. Like legitimately, I think I went to help her at 2. I wasn't done until like 1 in the morning. Like it was me, and it was a million. Like she was like it was gonna be a couple hours. I'm like, okay, I'll do this. I'll be back with my girlfriend. We'll spend time with our friends for New Year's. I missed New Year's. Like it was like I was so tired. I have a video about that. Like it was just me complaining the whole day. Like everything's getting heavier. I'm tired and hungry. That was
like
New Year's.
These couches you see. So like, I mean, and you've been in my house. So like we have other couches. Like if I move today, like.
Yeah,
you've got to decide, like, this is garbage, you know, like, it's insane, man, like, and, you know, I have nostalgia for these couches, you know, this was the first furniture that me and my wife had, you know what I mean, so, like,
you always have it somewhere else, like, my dad's stuff from our old house is in the basement,
yeah,
it's like a big thing, and it's like, well, I don't know where that goes next, but, I mean, if I get a place, like, maybe I'll take it, I don't know,
yeah,
like
and it's crazy to think, like, how, you know, like how that kind of stuff works. Like, you know, like we got a new bed. So our old bed went to the kids. It was queen size, so they use it. Like, it's weird to think of stuff like that, you know, because like, man, I got so much crap.
Yeah, and it's like I said, just the stuff I was packing up from my girlfriend's house that was mine, and then it was like, after that, I realized, I think the last day was mostly stuff that I got from my mom's house, that because it was like it was so much stuff that I was helping her with, like so much stuff that was mine.
And she's like, well, I don't want this anymore. You're like, but it means
like,
something to me. I want that.
It was either like a bunch of stuff that I just randomly had, stuff that's still in my car now from last year, or it was actually my stuff, and it was like so heavy. I was just like, I'm just gonna leave this in my girlfriend's basement, like, cause I was just so tired. That whole week after I helped her move, I was like, I just don't want to carry this stuff again. So I just left it all like in my girlfriend's basement. I was like, I can't, and it's just weighing the car down for gas. So I was like, it's got to get out. So then it was like, crap. Now we broke up. I got to get all this stuff that I had here, and I realized it was so much stuff.
How awkward is that? Like.
Well, she wasn't, the way we did it, I did it when she was at work.
Okay, cool. So, and she was cool with that,
yeah. So it was like when she wasn't there, and it was just me getting the stuff, and then I, you know, play with the dog while she was there, like the last couple of days with her and stuff. But so it wasn't really awkward like that where we had to see each other, but it was just like tiring where I was like, crap, like the stuff that I actually packed was oddly enough the easier stuff. And then I was like, crap, it's the old stuff from last year that was at my mom's house that I packed. That was like this super heavy stuff where I got like all my GameCube games in one giant box. I was like, this is insanely heavy. I thought this was going to be like, I'm just picking up old boxes.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh my God, there's a trunk that, like, why? Like, a trunk with old crap that we don't even use. I'm like, oh my goodness. And it was just crazy, like, the little stuff that wasn't even recent. It was just all stuff that had already been packed for like a full year. And that was the hardest stuff to add into the car. And I was like, holy crap, this was the tough stuff. Everything I packed was like, all right, this is still, keep all my stuff in boxes, just boom, 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 and done. It was just so crazy, like how much stuff there was.
The good thing about that is too, though, is like at least you didn't have to worry about like contractual stuff, because it seems like from that aspect it was a clean break. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, definitely. It was her stuff is her stuff. Anything I gifted to her, you know, because I even asked her,
But,
like, is there anything that I
yeah.
gifted you that you want?
But before my wife, like I had gotten a car where, you know what I'm saying, like for her where she co-signed. Just a mess, dude.
That can be a huge deal.
Mess.
And sometimes you don't know who you're dealing with. It could be as simple as it was with us, but then you can have that random crazy person that's like common law or whatever it tries to do. Like we've been together this long, so now I want half your stuff like we're married. Weird stuff like that, but that wasn't us. It was like, you know, whatever was gifted to you. If you want me to get rid of it, like if she didn't want it, then I take it back, stuff like that. But other than that, it was just like whatever I gave her is hers, cool, mine is mine. That's cool. And that's really simple. But yeah, it was just nuts, like all the extra stuff. Where I'm like, half this stuff is from my mom's house, and this is the hard part. Like all my games, like I have all my boxes. I was just like, all right,
God, dude.
PlayStation in the box, PS3, PS4, Wii, all that stuff, just box, easy. All this old stuff, trunks from my mom's, and it was like, oh man, that's all the heavy stuff. The heavy lifting was like.
Now, do you have like storage place where you can put that stuff, or?
That's all in my dad's basement. He has a fairly big basement, and that's pretty much where, you know, like there's already stuff. From my stepmom's old place and some, you know, old furniture and stuff like that. So I just like everything's in boxes. Like nothing. It's not like a bunch of stuff sprawled. It's like everything's just in boxes outside of like I had like some glasses. Like I have like 2 mugs that I have, like some old A&W mugs that I bought, and some random mugs that I've been gifted. And those I had like in the trunk and stuff, and I had like 2 things of moonshine that I had put in there. But that's it. Outside of like some glasses and stuff, it's all boxed.
Man,
it's easy.
One of my favorite moonshines is apple pie. Have you ever had that?
Yes, I had apple pie moonshine. That was definitely good. The stuff that I get now is just the store-bought stuff, so it tastes like regular alcohol. It's not like legitimate.
I had
sweet.
a guy who worked for me that made moonshine every year, and he would gift me some, and I'm like.
I always wanted that, like the legitimate moonshine, because like I said, we had it, and that was like the first time I had like legitimate like apple pie moonshine where it doesn't really taste like the liquor. But yeah, that's the liquor that I always get. It's either, and I rarely drink, but the only reason I get moonshine is because it's like the strongest stuff.
Yeah.
Because like a weird story. The first time I ever really drank was with my girlfriend, and that was like after I turned.
Wait, 21. The one you just broke up with?
Yeah.
Damn, dude, really?
Yeah, because I had just turned 21.
Well, I understand that, but
it's
like,
also because I just
dude,
don't drink.
My first
like,
drink was.
It wasn't the first time I ever had a drink.
Okay.
No, I had drinks like long before that. It was the first time I ever got drunk, because for me it was one of those things where it was like alcohol just tastes like crap, so that's why I never bothered.
Dude, I still remember the first time I got like totally drunk. It was my junior prom. And we went over my date's older brother, and I actually knew him really well. They were like family friends, and Mike's Hard Lemonade, man, smearing up, dude. We were playing Waterfall. You ever played that?
Yeah.
And man, it was so embarrassing on Smirnoff and Mike Hard. But yeah, man, 21 was the first time you got drunk.
Yep. And that was mostly just. I just didn't really, drink.
Yeah.
And it was the same. Oddly enough, it was the same thing for my girlfriend. That I think had more to do with like the religious stuff for her.
Yeah.
For me, it was just like I just don't like alcohol. Everything tastes nasty to me. So
I've
if
never
I don't like how it
understood that
tastes,
because like
I don't drink it. Like I hate beer.
It's not the best tasting stuff. Yeah, I hate beer too.
Like I can't.
I try to like it. Like I try so hard to like beer.
I can't stand beer.
I don't mind a beer in the summer if it's like a lemon wheat or something like that. Like with a steak or something when you're grilling and stuff. I like to have a beer, but man, my wife's the beer drinker.
Like it's just disgusting. Like I can, like none of it tastes good.
Right.
Like I can handle like hard liquors, but beer just tastes so gross to me. It's like the nasty taste of liquor plus like
let's get drunk so we can be hungover as shit. And, you know what I mean? Like make stupid decisions and get arrested if we drive. Like you know what I mean? Like it's just I just don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, like it never really had.
It was never a thing for me either.
And it was just just like, like us having, or me getting drunk for the first time was like us just having a party. And it was so funny. She never believed me, but like I never got drunk, but I was like, I know myself. I was like, I'm going to have a high tolerance. She's like, I don't know. And I was like, the first time I ever got drunk, I swear it was like 17 to 20 shots. And that's when I started to like actually feel it. And I was like, I told you. She'd never believe me. I was like, I know my body. Like, I'm not going to get like, I'm not just going to fall over. Like, I can handle it. I just knew that.
I've always been a lightweight when it comes to that kind of stuff. Like, give me a couple of shots and I'm good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Actually, it takes a ton for me. Like, that's
Really?
why I drink moonshine. Because like that first time was just normal alcohol, like 75 proof or whatever. And like I said, it would be like 16 to like 21 shots. And that was the first time I ever got drunk. And it was like, okay, I'm fine. So that's why I realized, I was like, I need moonshine for it to affect me in any like quick capacity where it doesn't take over an hour of drinking shots and stuff. I need like super strong drinks for it to like have an effect on me. That or like sake is always something that I've been interested in. Like,
Really?
I've had sake technically twice, I think. Like I tried it, I had like one shot when I was younger, where it's like, go ahead, take a sip sort of deal. And then after I did turn 21, my mom and I went to Benihana and I got sake, like hot sake from them. And that was really interesting. That was the first time I really like had it, and it was like sake is like boiling water. It's just hot and has no taste.
Yeah.
But that's sake is strong.
Yeah, that's
sake
strong.
Do
Like,
it too.
no, one of my favorite things, like if we go out to drink, I love karaoke.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm too much of a puss to do it. So like for me, like I've got to have a couple drinks in me to be able to do that. But yeah, man, like that's crazy. 21, huh? That's cool, man.
Yeah, it's just
one of those things. I mean,
Yeah.
but that goes back to everything that we talk about. Like everybody's different, and like that's what I don't understand is like people are like, oh my gosh, like, oh,
yeah.
you didn't live life. Yeah, he did. He just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you just didn't do it in that
Sometimes
way.
you just
Yeah.
Your interests just take place
It-
at different
it-
times.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
what
yeah.
the deal. Yeah. But we will end this episode out. Got ourselves a solid hour in, much like the last one. Of course, if you guys are interested in letting us know about random things that are coming up in the world, anything that we should be talking about, old or new, definitely hit us up. I am at Invisiblekatana on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, as well as Facebook. Nate, where can they reach you?
It's stewstart@icloud.com.
And of course, although he is not here once again, you can reach The Anarchist. He is The Anarchist on YouTube, as well as at Anarchist Beats on Instagram and Twitter. We also have our picture up there for the actual info, because I always forget what his stuff is. I don't know what his stuff is by heart. I know my stuff.
Beats
but
with a Z. Don't forget the Z.
Beats
He'll
with
kill
the Z,
you if you
yes.
don't say that.
The Beats with the Z. But definitely let us know what you guys thought about this episode. Like I said, upcoming topics, holidays, New Year's, random things, TV, movies, games, music, whatever there is in the world. Just let us know what you want to hear us talk about. And of course, thanks for listening.